Welcome to Hanging at the Hangar Bar. I'm Scott.
I'm Candice.
I'm Lariah.
And I'm Lacey. Grab a drink and come hang with us at the Hangar Bar.
Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to Hanging at the Hangar Bar. Today you are with Scott and Candice, and we're pretty excited about this. Foodies that we are, in case you missed it, the Epcot International Food and Wine Festival actually kicked off this week, which is the earliest the festival has ever begun. I'm kind of convinced that Epcot is moving to a direction where it's going to be a constant festival one way or the other.
Yeah, that's how they get people to stay in the parks there, I think.
Absolutely.
Because, like, we were just watching a video a little bit ago that they're like, hey, make sure you come to Epcot during the week because it's so busy on the weekend. If they have festivals all the time, it drives crowds there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which is fine with me because the festivals that they have are really, really cool.
Yeah, agreed.
And, you know, maybe we can make it more of an adult park.
Good
as
luck with that.
I feel that it should be.
Yes, I agree, but good luck with that.
I know.
So what are we doing today?
So we are going to actually go through the menus of the different food and wine booths.
Ooh, yay.
And talk about what we would try, how we feel about some of them. And I know that we've mentioned in previous episodes that we've been there during the time of the Food and Wine Festival, but because of our wonky eating schedules and the fact that we usually go with a pretty robust dining plan, we never actually have the room to get anything from a food and wine booth and try it out.
Yeah, that's so very true. So it's fun to go through the menus and dream and plan, but we've never actually had the room to do it. So I think what sort of the intention for today is this is almost like trip planning with Candice. So we may even label it that for this time is another trip planning with Candice episode. And what we want you to be able to do is, because the food and wine is just releasing, we're going to go through each one. If you're on your way to the park, you can listen into this podcast, download it and listen, see what sounds good to you and sort of make your plan. And we just think that this might be a good way for you to be able to do that. And
we will say that within the menus, I mean, there are an extensive number of booths, and some of them are not opening until mid-August. But this episode may be a little bit longer than what we're used to, just because we do want to get through all the booths for you. Okay, so as part of the International Food and Wine Festival, there are also two really cute little scavenger hunts to take part in if you wish. They do cost an additional fee. One of them is the Remy Seek and Find, I guess you could call it, where there are little Remy's hidden in the different festival booths.
And it's just like little statues.
Yes.
Isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. And you find one and you put a sticker on your card, and once you've completed your card, then you take it back to some place and get a prize. And the second one is not really a scavenger hunt, but it is called Emile's Fromage Montage. And you have to purchase 5 of the different qualifying festival eats and treats, and then you get a stamp when you purchase them, and then you take it back and you get a prize. And you don't have to do all of this in one day. Just pick up a festival passport and it'll allow you to collect your stamps, so you don't have to like do some serious damage that may result in eating 5 cheese items in a day.
Yeah, and they're cheese items, so if you're lactose intolerant, make sure you take your medication before you go.
Right. Or have someone else in your travel party do the challenge.
Right. And the other thing that I will just say is on the Remy's adventure where you go look for the things, don't be that person that just takes all the stickers from the back of your scavenger hunt and puts them on the front just so you can go get your free thing. I guess you do you if you can, but have fun with it because it looks like a fun way to explore the park and enjoy like searching for all these different little Remy statues at the different booths. So don't be that person.
Right. And I think it's like $10 for the card thing. So
and you get a little dessert at the end of it.
Yeah,
so
in a keepsake cup or something like that.
Yeah. So just don't be that person. Have fun with it.
Yeah. So we're going to go through the booths, and we are going to do something that I feel is sort of counterintuitive to doing a Disney park, and that is bouncing all over. But we're going to take these booths in alphabetical order.
Okay.
Rather than by country.
Okay. Do we know enough about where the booths are to be able to tell people where they're at?
We should be able to, yes.
Okay, good.
Mm-hmm. So are you ready to get started?
I am ready to talk about food.
All right, so the first booth that we are going to be visiting is near the Germany Pavilion, and it is called the Alps. The food available here is basically raclette Swiss cheese dishes. There is warm raclette Swiss cheese with alpine ham, baby potatoes, cornichons, and baguette.
Yum.
There's warm raclette with baby potatoes, cornichons, and baguette. No ham. And then raclette cheese with Riesling poached pears, red wine braised figs, candied pecans, honey, and cranberry toast. All three of those items are in Emile's fromage montage selection.
That's a lot.
It is. It is. And then there is several different alcoholic beverages available at the booth as well.
Okay, so let's start with food, and then I'll have you tell me what the alcoholic beverages are so I can pick what I'm going to drink today, too.
Okay. So I think all of them sound delicious. I think I would probably skip the one that's more desserty.
And that one
the
had
pears and the figs and
the candied nuts. And,
yeah.
Okay. Would that be cheesecakey, or because the raclette of cheese is this the booth where they're just shaving the cheese off in front of you?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Is that going to be like, you call it desserty? Is it going to be? Do you think it will be like cheesecakey because of all the sweet things, or is it going to be very sweet followed by the savory of the cheese?
I don't think it's something that you would necessarily want to eat each individual unit as its own. I think you would want to kind of blend everything together because the Swiss cheese is definitely going to be more savory.
Right.
And then like the pears and the figs are going to be very sweet.
Okay.
So I think mixing it together, which kind of hurts my heart a little bit, would balance everything out very nicely. And I think it would be a nice bite. I know myself and I'm more a savory person. So I don't think I would enjoy it as much as some of the others.
Yeah, and I'm more of a desserty person, but I still think that's not going to be desserty enough for me.
Right. Because that's not like ice cream, and it's not cheesecake, and it's not all those other delicious sweet things.
Yeah, but the one that caught my attention first, I said yum right after you said it, was the one with the potatoes and
the ham.
Yeah, oh, that sounds delicious.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
That sounds like the perfect like casserole. Just cheese and meat and potatoes.
Yeah, and that's basically what it would be, is a deconstructed ham and cheese sandwich with potatoes, pickles, and bread.
Yum.
Yeah.
That sounds delicious. Okay. Are there any like specialty cocktails or drinks at this booth?
They do have a frozen rosé
Okay.
wine, which I think would be pretty tasty. Otherwise, it doesn't really look like it. They've got a Pilsner beer, a Veltliner, which I'm assuming is some sort of a beer from Austria, and then a couple other things, but it doesn't look like they have any like Swiss cheese beer.
Okay.
Which just sounds gross.
Gross. Ew.
Sorry.
No.
No Swiss Miss hot chocolate beer either.
Ew. Stop it.
Sorry.
This is supposed to be about good food, Candice.
Well, I'm sorry. Not all of these things on these menus are going to turn our cranks, I have a feeling.
I'm just trying to picture like a Hefeweizen with a Swiss mix cocoa mix in it.
Ah.
Ew.
Ew.
Okay.
All right. Do we need to move on?
Yes, let's move on.
Okay. So thumbs up, you'd try it?
There was nothing on that menu that I wouldn't try from a food perspective.
Okay.
And I think we'll just spend our time talking about the cocktails that look like they're specialty cocktails.
Okay, because otherwise it's going to take a year.
Yeah, we're going to be here for 4 hours.
Okay. So the next place that we are stopping by is Australia, which is over near the port of entry.
Do you have to say good day, mate, when you walk up to that booth?
I'm sure those cast members get so sick and tired of hearing that.
So again, don't be that person.
I mean, dad jokes are all fun and good, but I mean, if you've been standing in 99-degree
right
Florida heat all day and everybody that comes up to you says, "Good eye, mate."
Or, do you have any shrimp on the Barbie?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Do you have kangaroo?
They've heard that joke before.
Yeah. So for food, they have grilled sweet and spicy bushberry shrimp with pineapple, pepper, onion, and snap peas.
So they do have shrimp on the Barbie.
Uh-huh. They have a roasted lamb chop with mint pesto and potato crunchies. And then they have a yellow cake with raspberry filling dipped in chocolate and coconut.
They had me until the coconut. I wonder if they could leave that off if you requested. Like, is
I
it
don't
to
think
order?
so because there's a picture.
Oh, yeah, no, they can't.
No.
Yes, please take tweezers and take every bit of coconut off of the outside of that, and then I'll order it.
And also, just for our food allergy people out there, the first two items I mentioned, the shrimp and the lamb, are both gluten and wheat friendly.
Okay.
So,
Interesting.
yeah.
Both of those sound really good. And as a dessert person, the cake sounded good. I'm just, for those listening, I'm not a coconut fan. The only way I like coconut is in pina coladas. And I've tried coconut in so many different ways. I don't even like coconut soft serve or anything like that. It's just, maybe it just has to be mixed with rum for me to enjoy it. But
there's nothing wrong with that.
No, but if you put shaved coconut on anything, I think it's absolutely disgusting. So I'm not making any comments about that cake. I'm sure it's delicious.
I would not eat the lamb.
Because you picture lamb chop?
Well, that and the whole Simpsons that they did way back when where Lisa was, yes, don't eat me. I just can't. I just can't.
I would eat both of the first two things.
I would eat the shrimp.
And the shrimp.
That
both.
sounds really good, actually. And then as far as drinks for that booth, they do have a Pacific Pale Ale, a South Australian beer, Chardonnay from Australia, Cabernet Sauvignon from Australia. They have a rosé from Tasmania. And then they have a wine flight.
Yeah, I would probably get the wine flight from there. Just Australia is kind of known for their wines. Mm-hmm. So I would want to try that. And here's the thing, just as we go through these booths, remember, food and wine is food and wine. You can, at every booth, you can get something to drink. You can get an alcoholic beverage everywhere you go. It's hot. It's sunny. Make sure you're mixing in water. Make sure you're mixing in food items as well. The fun of food and wine is both the food and the wine. So just make sure you're taking care of yourself.
Yes, celebrate responsibly.
Yes. But yeah, there's the wine. What does it say? What's in the wine flight? Is it the 3 that you mentioned?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Yeah, I would get that wine flight in a heartbeat just to try them all.
Yeah, because usually the wines and the wine flights are pretty good pours.
Yeah.
I mean, again, this is celebrate responsibly. Drunken Disney World is not a good look. We've said that before. Just remember, it's a family park. It's a family event. So be a good Disney fan and take care of yourself.
Yes, for sure.
Mm-hmm. Ready to move on?
I am.
All right. Our next booth is going to be the Appleseed Orchard, which is over in Canada. The only food they have there, is an apple crumble tart.
Ooh, that sounds delicious.
Yes, it does.
Is this just a drinking booth then?
Pretty much.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. They do have some non-alcoholic drinks on offer. The first one being a frozen apple pie, which, okay. Second one is a cinnamon apple cider. Again, okay. Then we have the Bold Rock Imperial Apple Hard Cider. Original Sin Hard Cider from McIntosh, New York. Blake's Hard Cider. Bourbon Barrel Aged Cherry.
Ooh, what's the brand name on that? We may have to see if we can get that locally.
Blake's Hard Cider Company.
Okay, we should make note of that and see about seeing if we can find that locally. That sounds delicious.
Uh-huh. Then there's a Cider Flight. They also have Big Storm Brewing Company Apple Blonde Ale. Playa Linda Brewing Caramel Apple Pie Ale, which also sounds amazing.
It does.
That's actually from Titusville, Florida.
Huh, okay.
Then you have Three Daughters Brewing Apple Pecan Brown Ale, which would probably be a really, really good fall beer.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have a Beer Flight, which would probably be those 3.
Right.
Then there is an Apple Blossom Sky, which is apple cider, ginger ale, apple brandy, maple syrup, and mini marshmallows. They had me up until the mini marshmallows.
Yeah, what purpose do the mini marshmallows serve?
Little extra sweetness on top of maple syrup. That almost might get sticky sweet.
Do they melt, though? Because this is a drink, right?
Mm-hmm. I would think that the alcohol would have an effect on the sugar in the marshmallows and have them break down a little bit.
Yeah, maybe. Okay. Or drunk snacks.
Nothing wrong with that.
Because those will soak up whatever they're in. So, yeah, drunk snacks.
And then they also have a Corksicle Classic Tumbler for sale.
Okay. I'd visit that booth. Mm-hmm. So basically, it's a cider and apple bar kind of place.
Yeah.
And you can get a dessert if you're looking for something sweet.
Right. And some carbs to soak up the alcohol.
Right. Yeah, that sounds like a place that they're like, we're not here for the food. We're here to give you a flavor of drink here.
And where apples.
Yeah. Where is that near?
Canada.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. Okay. Well, the next booth that we are going to visit is the Belgium booth, and this is located between France and Morocco.
Geographically, that just made my mind hurt.
I know. Okay, so the description of the booth, and maybe we should have been doing this from the beginning, but the description of the booth says, satisfy your senses with classic Belgian cuisine paired with bold Belgian beer.
Okay.
So the first thing they have is a beer braised beef served with smoked Gouda mashed potatoes.
Ooh.
That sounds delicious, but that would definitely be an evening stop for me, because think about that in 100-degree heat.
Yeah, that's very true.
That's a lot, and that's really heavy.
That's very true.
I'd still try it.
And I'm just sitting here thinking to myself, why have we not made that at home? We have a roast in the freezer, a crock pot, we have beer, so all we really need is the cheese and the potatoes.
Which, that's an easy fix. We could do that.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, there's also a Belgian waffle with warm chocolate ganache.
So that's your dessert offering. Does it say if it's a sweet waffle or not?
Yes, a Belgian waffle would be a sweet waffle.
Okay.
Yeah. And then there is a Belgian waffle with berry compote and whipped cream.
Yum. So I would probably take that one. Just for those of you that don't know, I am not a huge chocolate fan. I can take or leave chocolate if I have my choice between that and something else. I'll generally choose the other thing. Mm-hmm. So the berries one sounds better to me.
And again, with the warm chocolate, again, if you're walking around in 100-degree heat, I don't know that you want warm chocolate.
Yeah,
anything.
That's true. That's true. The fruit might be a little bit more refreshing.
However, I wonder if you ask a cast member nicely if they would do the berry compote and whipped cream with a slight drizzle of the chocolate ganache.
Maybe.
Because then you'd have a best of all things.
Yeah, maybe.
But that beef dish sounds amazing.
It does.
And then as far as the beers on offer, we have a St. Bernardus Wit beer or Witbier.
Okay.
Belgian Abbey Ale. Delirium Red Fruit Ale, which sounds really good to me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it would be berry or what it would be, but it sounds really good.
Yeah.
Then there's a chilled coffee featuring Godiva chocolate liqueur. Okay, I just found what I'm drinking. And then there's a beer flight, so you would get to try all three beers.
Yeah, and the first one, the what did you say the first one was?
It's the Wit beer.
The Wit beer? Mm-hmm. Does it have a description of that?
No.
Okay, so I'd have to get the flight, just in case I didn't like it. I wouldn't want to order a whole one.
Right.
I can always do a beer shot, like 3 beer shots, and figure out which one I like before I get the big one.
Sure.
That sounds delicious. Anything else from there?
That's it.
Okay. Next,
we are staying between France and Morocco and going to the Brazil booth, which, again, geographically, ouch.
Ouch.
And the description of this one says, dig into South American cuisine and culture with the land of palm's finest fare.
Okay.
So we have 2 food items. The first one, and I'm going to butcher these, so I apologize. But the first one is a feijoada, which is black beans with crispy pork belly, Brazil nut pesto, and Ben's original long grain white rice.
Brazil nut pesto. Uh-huh. That sounds delicious.
Doesn't it?
Because I've only ever heard of pestos being made with like
Basil?
pine nuts.
Yeah.
But a Brazil nut would be a little bit meatier, maybe, than a pine nut.
Like a little more heftier. And maybe not so... I don't know what it is. I don't really like pesto. And it may be the pine nuts that I don't like. But
Could be.
I'd try a bite of it.
Yeah. Sounds delicious to me.
Although I think if I remember correctly on the videos that we were watching, it didn't look the most appetizing.
Okay.
If I remember. But
Yeah.
I mean, whatever.
That's the good thing. So as we talk about these two, these are not like full meal portions. They're enough for one or two people to share and then go to the next booth and get something to share. You don't have to, like, if you have one of these, you're not necessarily going to be full for the entire afternoon. So it gives you the opportunity to try things, which is really cool, which is one of the things I love about Food and Wine.
Right.
Even if you're not an adventurous eater, you can still try some of these things and not feel bad wasting.
Right. Right. And another hack that we've seen mentioned on a lot of the videos that we do watch for fun every day is that there are gift cards available on little springy bracelet things where you can load them up and like put $100 on them and just spend from there so that you know and you can kind of keep yourself on budget because, friends, as small as these portions may be, they are not inexpensive.
Right.
So I think that's I would suggest that we would do that.
Yeah, for the food items, you're looking at what? Between probably cheapest thing that we're going to be talking about today is probably $6 or $7. Most expensive is 15 to 18, somewhere around there. So you're not looking. You'll want to be careful if you just have a credit card that you're not watching the statement on. You'll want to be careful when you're going around.
Your credit card linked to your Magic Band, you don't just want to blindly charge everything.
Yep.
Okay, so we'll step down off our soapbox about that.
This is travel planning with Candice, or trip planning with Candice. Those are good trip planning tips. That was a trip planning tips. There it is.
Well done.
Yeah,
well done.
I had to say it super slow, but I got there.
All right, so back to Brazil. The second thing they have on offer is a pão de queijo.
Okay.
It's Brazilian cheese bread. This is a Mills Fromage Montage item. It also says it is gluten and wheat friendly.
Okay.
And I've seen pictures, and it looks like just kind of like a Red Lobster roll, but it's not like a biscuit. It's like a roll.
Okay, and the cheese is baked into it.
Yes.
Okay.
And
I'm about
looks
it.
Delicious.
Yeah, I'm about that.
And then that's all they have for food at that booth.
Okay.
And then the two beverages they have there's a Brazilian black lager and a frozen caipirinha with cachaça. And I have no idea what any of that is, but I might try it because I've heard good things about that particular cocktail. I've heard it's good and fruity and refreshing. I just don't know what's in it.
So how do you spell what is the cachaça?
Cachacha.
Cachaca. Ca. It's pronounced cachaça.
Of course it is.
Cachaça.
Okay.
Distilled spirit made from sugar cane. It's produced exclusively in Brazil and is often erroneously thought of as a style of rum, but that's not what it is. So caipirinha, is that what you said the drink was?
Caipirinha.
That's Brazil's most famous cocktail.
Okay. So that would make perfect sense. So
yeah.
What they're saying that the cachaça, it's basically like simple syrup.
Right.
Made from Brazilian cane sugar.
Yeah, but it's a liquor.
Right.
Okay, yeah.
All right.
So it's made from freshly pressed cane sugar juice. Rum, on the other hand, is most often distilled from sugar byproducts like molasses. It tends to have a raw, vegetal, fruity taste with a more subtle sweetness. Yeah. So it's rum adjacent.
Okay. Rum, but more pure.
Right.
Okay.
Not aged in barrels, that kind of thing.
I would try it.
Yeah, I would try the heck out of that.
And it's a frozen cocktail, so I bet it's nice and light and refreshing.
Yep.
Which is very important in 110-degree days.
It is.
All right. Are we ready to move on?
I think we are.
Okay, so next we're going into the Odyssey building, and we're going to Brew Wing.
Okay. Is this what I think it is? Is it a wing stop?
It is.
Okay.
It is. Try a variety of flavorful chicken wings along with an assorted beers and ciders. So the wings that they have on offer, they do have one plant-based option as well. The first thing is sticky wings with peanut sauce and grape gel with celery and ranch. So it'd be like peanut butter and jelly wings.
They had me until the grape jelly.
You could probably leave that off.
Probably.
And just have peanut butter wings.
I'd probably still try it because I think my thing is with like fake grape. So as long as it's not fake grape, I'm probably going to be okay.
Yeah. I'd try it.
Yeah. And the story about grape for me, fake grape and grape Kool-Aid is a story for another day. But just know I can't drink grape Kool-Aid.
Yeah. The second type of wing is a garlic parmesan wing with celery and ranch that is gluten and wheat friendly.
That sounds delicious.
The third is a traditional buffalo wing with celery and ranch, also gluten and wheat friendly.
Okay.
The fourth is a sriracha lime wing with celery and ranch, which sounds really good to me.
Yeah, if you like spicy, that's probably the buffalo and that one are probably your best bets.
And I would say that the ranch would help kind of tame down a little bit of that
Yeah, for
heat.
sure.
Then there is a dry rub jerk spiced wing with papaya chili sauce.
Ooh, that one's going to be pretty spicy too, I bet.
With celery and ranch. Yeah, because jerk is not tame.
Yeah, no.
And then our plant-based option is crispy Brussels sprouts with buffalo sauce. And I would eat those until the cows came home.
Yeah, that sounds delicious.
Yeah.
Am I officially old if I admit to liking Brussels sprouts?
Well, no, because I also adore them and I am not old. So, no.
If you would have asked 10-year-old me if someday I was going to think a Brussels sprout dish sounded delicious, I would have pushed you into the pool.
What pool?
Whatever pool was nearby.
Okay, but when we were kids, in our defense, they have changed Brussels sprouts, I think. Because back then they were just smelly and boiled and disgusting.
That's true.
And now
They're roasted and covered in delicious sauces.
yes, they're amazing.
So they're a sauce delivery device, not so much a fantastic vegetable.
Essentially, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, now let's get into the drinks in this booth because they look pretty darn spectacular.
Okay.
There is an Ivanhoe Park Brewing Company Pineapple Vibes Blonde Ale.
Okay.
Three Daughters Brewing Watermelon Wheat Ale. Hello. Yes. Then there is a Blood Orange IPA. Then a Beer Flight of the three of those. And then we go into our ciders, which there's a Honeycrisp hard cider, which Honeycrisp apples are my favorite apple. So I can only bet that cider is amazing.
Right.
Then there's a Guava, another hard cider from Woodchuck.
Okay.
Then Strawberry Lemonade hard cider, which, okay. And then a cider flight of all of those.
Okay.
I like how they're doing the flights, so you can kind of try everything. And then if you like one better than the others and can settle on it, then you go get a big one.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
All of those sounded delicious. Now, do you think ciders are like the Zima of our youth right now?
No, I would say that the seltzers are more the Zima of our youth.
Okay.
And I think that hard ciders are here to stay. Where I think the seltzer phase is the hard seltzer is gonna
Fade
phase
out.
itself out.
Yeah.
Because they're not that great. I mean, I enjoy seltzer water, like sparkling water, flavored sparkling water. I really like, but the hard seltzers just don't do it for me.
Yeah.
But ciders, heck yes.
Yeah, and I just ask because there's a lot of ciders that we've talked about already, and we're not even halfway through. Mm-hmm. So
well, and I think with people. I think people are kind of getting away from the whole beer experience just because it's so heavy and
right.
so...
And when it's 100 degrees in the middle of Florida,
right.
you want something a little lighter, a little more refreshing, and a cider's going to do that for you.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sold.
Plus, I think they're gluten-friendly.
Oh, yeah, probably.
Which beer is not.
Yes.
So... All right, and plus, we'll just put this in there, the Odyssey is an enclosed building. So if you go in there and you go to the brewing, you're going to get some air conditioning. And there is a little bit of seating in there, not a ton. And depending on if you're there on a weekend or whatever, you may still have to go find a trash can to eat off of.
Right. Yes, so another food and wine tip, they sell little trays and that kind of thing that you can carry around with you that in some cases they have a little place for you to hold your drink cup and whatever the little thing that you order from the booth or whatever. There is not unlimited seating around World Showcase. So you'll often see people standing or gathered around a trash can using that as their table while they eat. So give yourself a layer of protection there and use a tray or something if you have to do that.
Because as clean as Disney trash cans are, it's still a trash can.
Yeah, exactly. You don't know what gross things people do.
Right. And if you're going to the park, if you're going to Epcot just for the day and you're going to Food and Wine, we saw this travel hack yesterday on one of the videos we were watching, and I thought it was a fabulous idea. They loaded their park bag with reusable food storage containers.
Yeah.
And they put their leftovers in those containers so they could take it home with them. I think that's a fabulous idea because then if you find something that you really like but you're just so full, you're not going to waste it.
Right.
Because again, you don't want to pay $14 for something and have to throw it away after 2 bites because you're full and you don't have any place to keep it on you.
Yep. Agreed.
Okay. Are we ready to move on?
I think we're ready to move on.
Okay. So this next one is the Canada booth, which is different than the Appleseed Orchard that we were at before.
Okay.
Discover delightful dishes and refreshing beverages from the Great White North. So the first is Canadian cheddar and bacon soup served with a pretzel roll. This is an Emile's fromage montage item.
And that's the same soup you can get from Le Cellier.
Yes. And it is amazing.
It's a good soup.
Mm-hmm. Again, I don't know that I want it in 100-degree heat unless I'm sitting inside an air-conditioned restaurant enjoying a delicious dinner, but you do you.
Yeah, exactly.
The second food item they have is Le Cellier's wild mushroom beef filet mignon with truffle butter sauce.
Okay, so here's the thing with that filet mignon one. How overcooked is it going to be?
That's a great question.
If it's serving out of a food booth, I'd be a little nervous about not being able to go up and order mine to be rare to medium rare. Mm-hmm. And if it's a good cut of meat, I don't want it to be ruined just because they're serving it to 1,000 people in tiny little quantities throughout the day.
Right. I guess, for my opinion, if you're going to go for a Le Cellier filet mignon, you make a reservation and you go sit down.
Yeah. If filet mignon's one of those things you don't get very often, it might be worth a shot, might be worth a try. But again, if they're not asking me how I want it cooked to order, I'm going to struggle with it. Okay.
I with that said, though, as we were talking about it, I was thinking more about it. And I don't think, if you're going to go try that at the food booth rather than go to Le Cellier, don't judge Le Cellier and the experience that you're going to have based on what you get from the food booth other than the cheese soup.
Right.
Because I don't think that's fair.
Right. I would agree.
All right. So we have not talked about beverages in the Canada booth yet. The first thing that they have is an audio-visual lager. It's Collective Arts audio-visual lager from Hamilton, Ontario.
Okay.
And then the second thing is a Cabernet Merlot, which could be really interesting. I'm not a big fan of Merlot wines just because they're so dry and so usually woody.
Does it say where it comes from?
No, it does not.
Canada's just not, to me, known for their wine.
It's a Chateau de Charme.
Okay.
Which I don't know what that means, but...
Okay.
Yeah. All right. So the next booth that we're going to talk about is called Coastal Eats. It is located near Mission Space in World Science. World something.
Yes.
In the front part of the park.
Yeah. So, okay, that's another thing. I thought all of the food booths were back in World Showcase.
I think they're coming up with so many of them, they have to space out.
Okay. That makes sense.
Mm-hmm. But this one is near Mission Space, as I said, and it's not opening till August 15th. So just keep that in mind.
Okay.
The description says, savor succulent seafood dishes that pair beautifully with cold beer, wine, and cocktails. The first item that they have is a baked scampi dip with shrimp, scallops, and a baguette.
Ooh, I bet that would be delicious. Mm-hmm. Is that on the fromage montage?
It is not.
Okay.
So it's probably not overly cheesy.
Okay.
And the second one is an Oysters Rockefeller, which, no.
In the heat of mid-August?
Mm-hmm. No.
I'd probably try it. I'm not a huge oysters fan, but I would probably try it.
I can't. And then the beverages they have there is Bell's Lager of the Lakes Bohemian Pilsner.
Okay.
a sparkling Pinot Noir Rosé, which that's a lot. There's a lot going on in that glass. A Sean Minor Chardonnay from California.
Okay.
And a Cape Codder, which is made with Boyd and Blair vodka with cranberry, pomegranate, and lime.
Okay.
That sounds really refreshing.
Yeah, it does. So when they're talking coastal eats, they're looking at both coasts.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which, good on them.
Yeah.
The next booth we are going to be going into is the China booth.
Looking forward to that. I love Chinese food.
Yes. Please your palate with popular Chinese plates, bubble tea, draft beer, and cocktails.
Okay.
So the first thing is pan-fried chicken dumplings with house-made sweet and spicy sauce.
Sounds delicious.
Mongolian beef bao bun with onion. And then dan dan noodles, which are spicy pork with Szechuan sauce, peanut butter, sesame, and green onion.
Okay, all of that sounds delicious. Here's a question for you. Are you a bao bun fan?
I do like bao buns. The ratio on it gets tough for me, though.
Right.
Because I feel like 90% of the time it's more bun than anything else.
Right.
Which, whatever. But, yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same way. They have to be really well done for me to like them.
There has to be a good balance.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And I think at a food festival, you're not necessarily going to get the best balance.
Exactly, because they're just making so many of them.
Right. But I would try anything at that booth. But there again, it doesn't scream new and inventive to me. It seems like what every other Chinese restaurant ever has ever.
Right.
The beverages, however, do look a little bit interesting.
Okay.
There's a passion fruit bubble tea, which is non-alcoholic. I like bubble tea. There's a Good Fortune citrus, which is triple sec, grapefruit, and white boba. That might be a little sour. And then there's something called a Baijiu punch, which is Chinese Baijiu spirit, pina colada mix, and lychee, which they just ruined it for me at the lychee because I do not like lychee. It's too perfumey.
Yeah, I don't even know that I would be able to tell you what lychee tasted like.
Okay, do you remember when we went on the cruise with Lacey and we had the spooky juice?
Yes.
And they had those things that were supposed to look like eyeballs.
Yes.
And they looked kind of like wrinkly grapes.
Okay.
Those were lychee.
Okay.
And they tasted like perfume.
Right.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Okay.
And then there's something called the Fireworks, which is Jose Cuervo Gold Tequila, Smirnoff Vodka, Orange, and Mango.
Okay.
And then a Jasmine Draft Beer, which if it has jasmine flavors in it, that could be really interesting.
Right.
So I don't know that this would be a must-do booth for me just because it sounds kind of basic.
Yeah, it does. There's a couple of things that sound pretty good, but I don't know that that's where I would start.
Right.
Yeah, if I had to choose just a few of the booths, nothing there rung out to me like this is the booth I would run to.
Well, and true to form, you hear that about the restaurants in the actual China Pavilion
That's
as well.
true.
So
That's very true.
yeah. Which makes me kind of sad because it's a beautiful pavilion.
It is.
Yeah. Sigh. All right. The next booth that we're going to be journeying to is Earth Eats, hosted by Impossible brand. And this is near the port of entry as well. Delight in hearty plant-based fare featuring Impossible foods as well as wine or refreshing cocktail. All right, the first item is an Impossible burger slider with wasabi cream and spicy slaw on a sesame seed bun.
Ooh.
I would eat that.
Yeah. I'm not opposed to the Impossible burgers. Like when we've had those at Burger King and that kind of thing, I've actually don't try and convince me that it tastes like hamburger because it doesn't, but it tastes good.
Right. And it tastes the closest to hamburger of any of the non-hamburger meat substance
Yes.
substitution.
Yes.
Whatever it is I'm trying to say.
Yeah, but it doesn't taste like hamburger. But
No.
I would eat it because it tastes good.
Right. But the wasabi cream sauce and the spicy slaw. And then there also is an Impossible meatball with herbed polenta, rustic puttanesca sauce, and basil pesto. I would pass on that because of the pesto.
Yeah, you're not a pesto fan. I would try that.
It sounds good.
Yeah.
And then the drinks that they offer, there's a strawberry freeze featuring Twinings lemon and ginger herbal tea, which is non-alcoholic. I bet that would be delicious. There's a Stephen Vincent Pinot Noir and a strawberry freeze alcoholic version with Kettle One botanical cucumber and mint vodka.
Ooh.
Which, talk about refreshing.
Yeah, that would be good.
So that would be a win for me, that booth.
Yeah, I think I would try that. I'm not a huge cucumber flavored person, like cucumber water and that kind of thing. So that alcoholic beverage I don't know about.
Mm-hmm.
I'd try it, but because there's enough other flavors going on that maybe the cucumber would just give it a little bit of refreshing crispness.
Mm-hmm. But
yeah, I don't think that would be a first choice beverage.
Yeah, and that lemon and ginger herbal tea, I've had that just on its own, and it's really sharp with ginger.
Right.
So I think that would be a good balance with that strawberry in there, and I think it would just be a well-balanced cocktail.
Yeah.
All right. Moving on, we are going to Flavors from Fire, and this is located near Test Track, presented by Chevrolet. So once again, we're in the front part of the park in World Discovery. That's what it is, not World Space. Right. World Discovery. Thank you. Enjoy heartwarming dishes inspired by campfire-cooked summertime favorites. All right, this booth is confusing. There's a lot going on here.
And what's the name of it again?
Flavors from Fire.
Okay.
And the type of cuisine is listed as Asian, bakery, and Irish. You just made the face that I made in my head. So the first thing we have for food is a smoked corned beef with crispy potatoes, cheese curds, pickled onions, and beer cheese fondue.
Yes.
Which is an Emil's fromage montage item.
Okay. And I would eat that.
Yes.
All.
That sounds delicious. Kind of heavy again, but delicious nonetheless. There's a banh mi bao with char-grilled Asian skirt steak, chicken liver aioli, pickled vegetables, and cilantro. I'll pass on that. Thank you very much. And then a Rocky Road chocolate cake with marshmallows, spiced almonds, and chocolate ganache. Okay.
Yeah?
Yeah. The beverages there are a bonfire beer, bourbon barrel Zinfandel,
Okay.
swine brine featuring Jim Beam bourbon. But that's all it says. It's just called swine brine. I don't know what's in it. But it has Jim Beam.
Okay. I'd try it because it's bourbon based.
Mm-hmm. And then there is a Corksicle Classic Tumbler available there as well.
Okay. So you said there was something Asian about that?
The banh mi bao.
Okay. It's so weird. There's no Asian drinks.
Mm-hmm.
And what does From Fire have to do with the bao?
Well, it's char-grilled Asian skirt steak. Grilled from fire.
Okay, that's a stretch.
Well,
but whatever.
I didn't make these menus. I didn't name the booths.
Okay. We'll let Disney get away with it this time because they're trying to put 28 booths together. They can't be all good ideas.
All right, are we ready to move?
I think we can move on.
All right, the next place we are stopping is the France booth.
I love French food.
Mm-hmm. Fall in love with the classic cuisine of France, along with assorted wines or a slushy cocktail. You had me at slushy. Okay, this is going to be a mouthful because this is all French, and I don't speak French.
Okay, do your best.
So I'll do my best. Forgiveness, please. So the first one is a beignet à trois fromages, which is a warm beignet filled with 3 cheese blend. Okay. Cheese bread.
Okay.
Hello.
And I just had my mind blown a little bit. I've always just taken beignet as like a donut, like something like a sweet dough covered in powdered sugar, but it's not. It's just a dough.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mind blown.
I learned something today.
Bravo. Bravo. The second item is a brioche escargot, sauce creme à la et persil, which is escargot brioche with creamy garlic and parsley sauce.
Okay.
I don't know.
What, like escar?
Escargot.
Okay. Just the way you said that.
Sorry. Again, it's French. I don't speak French.
No, because you just said escar, and I didn't hear the go after it.
Oh, sorry. Escargot brioche with creamy garlic and parsley sauce.
Okay, I'd try it. I've had escargot before, and I liked it.
Yeah.
But that's pretty much, you cover anything in that amount of butter and let it saute for a while. It's probably going to taste good. So, but I'm willing to try snails.
Okay. You can have mine.
You're not willing to try snails again?
Not unless it's on a cruise ship and they're in a little escargot dish. All right. The third thing is a parmentier de boeuf bras au cabernet, which is braised short ribs and cabernet with mashed potatoes.
Yum.
Heavy
Yeah,
food.
but that would be delicious.
Well, yeah. Like a boeuf bourguignon-ish.
Yeah, take on that for sure.
Mm-hmm. And the dessert item is a creme brulee vanilla au something. And it's basically vanilla creme brulee with house-made raspberry jam.
Yep.
And that is gluten and wheat friendly.
I am a creme brulee fan.
Mm-hmm. Then we have, for beverages, we have a strawberry rose mimosa. We have Paul Remy sparkling wine, orange juice, and Monin strawberry rose syrup, which would be delicious.
Mm-hmm.
Merlot and Cabernet Sauvignon blend from Bordeaux. Ooh la la. We have a Chardonnay, and then we have a La Passion Martini Slush, which is vodka, Grey Goose, Le Citron, cranberry, and passion fruit juice, which, yes.
That sounds delicious.
You had me at everything.
Yeah, that sounds like a very refreshing drink as well.
Mm-hmm. And it's slushy.
Yeah, and so what's the name of that one?
That one is the La Passion Martini Slush.
Okay. Everything at that booth just sounds so fancy.
I know.
I think it's just you name anything French, it's going to sound fancy.
Mm-hmm.
Makes you want to pay more for it.
I mean, even just the first thing, the beignet à trois fromage.
Right.
Cheese bread.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but it just sounds so fancy. Fancy.
Yeah.
Okay, that sounds like my favorite booth so far.
Yeah. Kind of like stuff to try, but not so weird that it's like, yeah, I don't really want that.
Yeah. There's been some really tasty sounding things.
And it sounds like it would be worth the money.
Yeah, everything on that list is something that I would eat or drink.
Mm-hmm. Agree.
Well, except for the escargot for you.
Well, yeah, but I'd watch you eat it.
Okay.
All right. So the next one is a new booth this year. It is called the Fry Basket. It is also near Test Track, presented by Chevrolet. Snack on crispy French fries or yucca fries seasoned to perfection. So it's a limited booth, but...
When you say limited, it just means that's all they serve is those French fries.
Right. And there is adobo yucca fries with garlic, cilantro, aioli, which is their plant-based option, and gluten and wheat friendly.
Yeah, that sounds delicious.
And then the Fry Flight is sea salt and malt vinegar fries, which are plant-based. Barbecued bacon fries with smoked aioli, which are not plant-based. And sweet potato casserole fries with candied pecans, toasted marshmallow cream, and caramel whiskey.
I could get behind all of those.
Mm-hmm. I would try the Flight, I think.
Yeah. I would try the yucca fries, too.
Oh, for sure.
Those sound delicious.
For sure. And then for the beverages, they have a salty dog cocktail, which is Boyd and Blair vodka with grapefruit juice, ginger, simple syrup, and lime with salted rim.
Okay.
And then they have a key lime lager as well.
I bet that would be delicious.
Mm-hmm. Nice and light and refreshing.
Yeah.
With a little citrus hit.
Yeah, and I don't necessarily think of lagers as typically refreshing, but
No,
I
because
think
they're a little heavier, right?
Yeah, but I think the key lime would make it just taste a little bit fresh.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
Okay.
And I think that's more of like a snack booth. Like if you're kind of peckish, especially in the front of the park, like if you just need a quick snack or something, I'd say that would be the place to go.
You said it's close to Test Track?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to wait in a 75-minute line for Test Track. I'm going to grab some French fries and a drink on my way into the line.
Exactly. Although we've talked about Test Track. I don't know that I'd waste my time. But it is what it is. All right. The next booth that we're going to go into is Germany.
Okay.
And venture to Germany for Bavarian bites sure to sate foodies of all ages. All right. Again, I do not speak German. So forgiveness is requested.
Do your best. I'll try not to. I speak no German, but I know some of the pronunciation, so I'll try not to correct.
Thank you. Well, you can if you want. I mean, so for food items, they have a Schinkennudeln, which is a pasta gratin with ham, onions, and cheese. This is an Emile's Fromage Montage item, and it's a returning item from years past.
Okay.
And it looks delicious. It's like a fancy macaroni and cheese.
Yeah, I'm about it.
The second one is a roasted bratwurst on a pretzel roll. You had me at pretzel roll. And the third one is an apple strudel with vanilla sauce.
Yeah, I like German food too. Mm-hmm. That all sounds delicious.
And then for beverages, they have a Gefällkulch.
Okay.
Did I say that right? Kulch?
Close enough.
Okay. Then they have a lager. We're just going to leave it at that. Then they have a Schöferhofer pineapple Hefeweizen.
Okay.
Riesling, and then a beer flight. So
Okay.
it would be the Kulch, the lager, and the Hefeweizen
Okay.
in the flight, which I would try all three.
Yeah. The one has pineapple?
Mm-hmm. It's a pineapple Hefeweizen.
Interesting. I bet that would be delicious.
Uh-huh.
I don't think I've ever had pineapple-y beer before. I've had pineapple cider,
Uh-huh.
but I don't know that I've ever had a beer that was pineapple-based.
Other than, not the Big Wave, but the other one by Kona. Didn't that have kind of a pepper or a pineapple?
Not that I remember.
Okay.
It might have, but not that I remember.
All right. Well, so that would be a win for me, that booth.
Yeah, that may now be my favorite booth that we've talked about.
So we're sticking with the classics. We're sticking with France and Germany at this
Right.
point. And with that said, we are now halfway through the food and wine booth offerings. So we're going to close this episode out. Our next one is going to feature the rest of the booths. We'll talk more about it. Hopefully make you hungry, make you want to book a trip to Epcot for the Food and Wine Festival or any of their other festivals, because all their other festivals have fantastic food items as well that they don't have other times of the year other than those festivals. So
Did you say when this festival runs through? So we're putting this out now. They just opened on Thursday, July 14th.
And it will run until November.
Okay. So you got a long time to be able to get to the parks and try some of these foods.
Mm-hmm. Or if you want to plan for next year, it's not too early.
Yep. Yeah, for sure. They'll change out some of the food and that kind of thing, but you can always get yourself on the list for 2023 Food and Wine as well.
And I would be more than happy to help you with that.
Yep, for sure. Okay, so we're like we said, we decided not to make this a 2-hour long episode. We're going to make this we're going to split it into two, and we're going to stop this one here. And remember, there's a great big beautiful tomorrow.
And we'll see you real soon.